Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. I'm my brother Yahshua. I'm back with another lesson. All right, we're just gonna. I saw this video about the chariots, and I just think that everybody should watch it. It's a lot more of the same stuff, but this is 8 months ago before things are building up right now, and they've been using this footage, of these planes, these fighter jets, the FLIR video, which that's like an infrared uh, technology to be able to see things, in dark situations. It's different technology anyway. What these planes are doing, these are fighter jets, these are military machines, if you will. What they're doing is they're trying to get a lock on these chariots. And the chariots, the way they move, it's almost impossible for their technology to lock in. By the time, they locked in, ready to engage, then, once you get a lock, then you can fire the missile. But the chariots are so quick that, and then they anticipate, they know when these people or when these fighter jets are targeting them. So with that, with how quick they are, with that foreknowledge, there's just no way that they can get hit. So, and you'll see that in the video when they're targeting these craft. You can just see the way that the chariot is just moves. It moves, at will. So even if it looks like they got him in the crosshair, by the time you fire a missile and by the time it gets there, that thing is, it's out of the lock. And my point is they would shoot those things down if they could. And they know that they can't. I'm sure they've been trying for years. And they even had to make up stories. Oh, well, this chariot was brought down. This chariot was brought down. If a chariot is brought down, it's a man-made chariot. All right? So the point that I'm getting at is that they're already at war. Okay? Now, as far as the angels shooting down the fighter jets, I'm sure that there are instances of that we never hear about. But, ultimately they haven't started, because they could take them down whenever they want to, basically. But, just sparring like that, just, outmaneuvering, just maneuvers like that is the war. Just because they're not taking them down yet doesn't mean that, that they're not at war. Of course they're at war. All right. So anyway, I'm being long-winded. I'm gonna bring out a couple of precepts. We're gonna watch some of this video. I think it's like 30 minutes long, but it's really good, and the dialogue is really good. So I suggest that brothers watch it. But first, we'll get Revelation 12:7 to prove what is going on and what will go on. All right. And there was a war in heaven. All right. This is talking about the chariots of Israel, the angels, if you will, fighting against the allied forces of the earth's nations. Okay. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Michael and his angels is talking about the Most High's military, okay, Air Force and Navy in those chariots. And the dragon is talking about, NATO, the EU, the new Roman Empire, which during the ancient Roman Empire, they said that Rome was, ruling the world, so to speak. So the dragon represents all the nations of the world, the great multitude that came together to fight against the man that flew upon the mountain. All right. And the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right, so that's basically, the summation of the war in heaven. It tells you who wins and who loses. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch a little bit of this video. We'll come back and bring some more precepts, and then we'll go ahead and close it. Just a short video. But this is really good. The channel is called Let Me Know. The date is August 28th, 2020, so it goes back 8 months. All right. The name of it is Extraordinary Until Proven Otherwise. All right. It describes the footage that we've been seeing a lot of. Okay, so let's check this out.
Just let me know.
Okay, so that says the fighter jet incident happened in 2007. How long they've been sitting on it. And now, finally, 14 years later, they're, now that they have to try to control the narrative, they're releasing this stuff. And just watch what is said about it.
In early 2007, this silent black and white video was uploaded by a user on a conspiracy and UFO-centric forum called Above Top Secret. The user claimed the video depicted a disc-shaped UFO outmaneuvering a fighter jet somewhere off the coast of Mexico.
Outmaneuvering is the point.
In the mid-2000s, they had supposedly gained access to the video while serving on board a US aircraft carrier and claimed to have smuggled the potentially classified material off the ship.
Okay, so aircraft carrier, fighter jet, this is letting you know that there's a war going on. A war in heaven, all right? Meaning in the sky, fighter jets are flying, so-called UFOs, which are the chariots, they're flying too. And they're outmaneuvering, they're like dog fighting, all right? And again, if this fool could get a lock on the chariot, he would shoot it down.
While some members of the forum chose to believe their story, others were not so easily convinced. For instance, the video was hosted on a website belonging to a group of German film students, which led some to denounce the clip as an attempted hoax. Even those who believed it could be genuine still complained that it was a totally uninspiring video of a fuzzy dot.
And they got agents and what do you call them? The guys that sit around and go on websites like this and debunk everything. And trolls, I guess you would call them, paid trolls to get in there and confuse the situation. This is what this devil does.
Over a decade later, this long-forgotten video suddenly resurfaced as part of an article by the New York Times. The video was now linked to a secret government-funded program and was even corroborated by a credible eyewitness. What had initially been dismissed as a hoax turned out to be real. The video was said to depict a genuine encounter between US Navy fighter jets and some sort of unidentified craft. A second black and white video of a similar yet completely separate incident was also featured at the beginning of the article. except this one had sound.
Yeah, drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 miles to the west. Look at that thing, dude.
These two videos, along with a third released a few months later, spread across the internet like wildfire. Comment sections and discussion threads were dominated by unrestrained speculation about aliens and paranormal phenomena. The skeptics, meanwhile, took it upon themselves to analyze every pixel in every frame in the hopes of uncovering some neglected clue that could identify these fuzzy blobs. Any lingering doubts about the video's authenticity vanished with the release of an official statement by the Department of Defense confirming that the videos depicted real events involving unidentified aerial phenomena. So, what exactly are we looking at?
This is Strive Biltong. Biltong is a...
Alright, Salakia. So, we'll watch a little bit more and I'll go ahead and get some pre-sales. To let you know that Nimitz is an aircraft carrier.
Mexico in late 2004. The story behind it has been recounted by more than a dozen naval officers, and it goes like this.
Naval officers. Okay? And those guys have been sworn to secrecy. That used to be you couldn't even, if you mentioned something like that, either you'd be getting demoted or kicked out of the military. So you had to, there was a thin line between what you saw and what you didn't see. But now we're in the time of this great disclosure, and so, like I said, they have to get control of the narrative because things are spinning out of control. You can't hide it anymore.
In early November of 2004, a naval strike group led by the aircraft carrier the USS Nimitz was conducting pre-deployment exercises about 100 kilometers southwest of San Diego. Starting around the 10th of November, radar technicians aboard a guided missile cruiser, the USS Princeton, were puzzled by a series of unidentified radar tracks near San Clemente Island. The tracks did not resemble any known aircraft and would sporadically appear in groups of 5 to 10 at a time. Suspecting a malfunction of some sort, the recently upgraded Spy-1 radar system was taken offline and recalibrated. Once the system was brought back online, however, the tracks had only become sharper. Among those on board were Senior Chief Operations Specialist Kevin Day, who was an expert on the Spy-1 radar system and had 18 years' worth of experience at the time of the incident. Day observed firsthand how these unknown targets alternated between slightly strange and physics-defying maneuvers. Sometimes a cluster of tracks would appear out of nowhere and slowly drift south. They were flying too high to be birds, too slow to be conventional aircraft, and did not follow any commercial airways. Other times, they would seemingly descend from space and drop all the way down to sea level in mere seconds. These phenomena continued for several days, and every time they reappeared, the crew would run up to the bridge and use a pair of heavily magnified binoculars to see these tiny specks moving erratically in the distance.
Now again, they're at war. These are war chariots, battleships. Salakia, the Nimitz may have been that looked like a battleship, but nonetheless, this is the Navy. All right, the Navy does war. The chariots of Israel are war chariots. So this is that. See, because these chariots are also USOs, unidentified submersible. Okay, so they're naval as well. They're aerial and they're naval. Okay, so they're at war. They're taunting Esau out here and saying we're superior to you.
On the morning of November the 14th, the crew on board the USS Nimitz were gearing up for a scheduled air defense exercise. They had not yet been informed of the
Nimitz is a carrier.
usual returns picked up by the Princeton. It was a cloudless day, and the sea was calm as pilots took to the skies. One of them was Lieutenant Colonel Douglas Kurth, who was flying a single-seat FA-18 fighter jet when he was contacted by the Princeton. He was instructed to investigate an unknown target approaching from the south. The Princeton also wanted to know if he carried any weapons, to which the answer was no. Kurth made his way to the specified coordinates, but did not pick up anything on sensors. As he looked down towards the ocean, however, his attention was immediately drawn towards a turbulent patch of water. Kurth claims to have seen a roundish disturbance on the ocean, which appeared as though something was submerged just below the surface. It reminded him of a submarine or ship slowly sinking into the ocean. The Nimitz strike group did include a nuclear-powered submarine named the USS Louisville. The Louisville was in the vicinity when Kurth made his observations, so the churning may indeed have been caused by a submerging submarine. If not, then whatever was in the water managed to evade detection by the Louisville's extremely sensitive sonar. Kurth was soon joined by a squadron of 2 tandem-seated F-18s, the lead aircraft of which was piloted by Commander David Fravor. Much like Kurth, Fravor claims to have seen a disturbance on the ocean, which he described as having a vaguely cross-like shape. He thought it resembled a downed airliner, and described its size as much larger than a submarine. While Kurth eventually circled back for the Nimitz, Fravor and his wingman decided to get a closer look. As they began their descent, they noticed a white, capsule-shaped craft moving erratically above the disturbance. At first, they thought it could be a helicopter, but there were no rotor blades. In fact, it was perfectly smooth. No markings, no exhaust, no protrusions of any kind. The UFO appeared to maintain a consistent altitude, but made rapid lateral movements with no visible means of propulsion. According to Fravor, it was a bit smaller than an F-18 and resembled a giant mint of Tic Tac.
Okay, so I suggest brothers watch the rest of this. It's looks like about 35-minute film, and it's films like this, okay, that probably prompted them. They had to get out ahead of this thing. And you got people making. Look at the slickness, the production of this. They're breaking it down, okay, and they're. I mean, if they can't get a hold of people making videos like this, then you know they're gonna know. They're gonna find out. They're gonna put 2 and 2 together, which this truth can't be stopped anyway, because the men of the Lord are pushing that vibration. But the point is with all of this information, look at this. Okay? With all of this information, plus the truth rolling around out there, it's only a matter of time before, people are in an uproar, because these things are about our salvation. And once those 2 things come together, they can't be stopped. They are on our side. All right. Then people start becoming afraid. All right. Let's get there. Let's get our salvation real quick. All right. This is 11. Let's go to Revelation 11, and it's going to tell you about them being afraid. Let's see. Right here. It's Revelation 11 and 11. After 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. That goes to us, coming into this knowledge, right? And what we're saying, the way we put, what we're saying is, that's our military. They can't be stopped, and they're coming back to kill you. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Okay? Let's get wisdom. right, this is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. When they see what? When they see us mad as hell, standing in great boldness, right? And pushing the fact that that's our military up there. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. Okay? And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit. They're going to have anguish of spirit. All right? Great fear. All right? Shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. All right? Let's see. And this guy has to try, to keep that under wraps. Oh, it's a weather balloon. This is what they said in 47 Roswell, okay? Which was, that was a psyop that they were trying to control the narrative back then. Oh, this thing crashed. First of all, they don't crash. That's ridiculous. So whatever crashed was man-made, all right? So 58. Let's get some. This is Psalm 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Okay? What lies? Well, we got to spin this truth, all right? Because obviously the Most High is dealing with the men of the Lord. Okay? And they can't stop it anymore. They got to get out in front of it, and what they have to do is debunk us, or to make it seem like we're the ones out deceiving people. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made. All right? He's subtle. He's being as subtle as he can be. Oh, we're going to release a report in June. Okay? And tell you all about this shit that we've been hiding for years and years and years now. Weather balloons and swamp gas and, whatever else they want to try to put on it. Okay? One more about that fear. All right? They're going to be scared. All right? When Yahushua comes back. Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him, all kindreds of the earth shall wail. They're going to be scared as hell because of him. Even so, a month. All right? Second Ezra 16, Salakit. Second Ezra 13 and 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid. To subdue who? This guy on the great mountain. He was flying up upon. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. They're going to fight anyway, but they're shitting on themselves. All right? So, and then this goes on to describe what the weapon systems of these war chariots. Okay? Ezra was afraid. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 13. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. Then I was sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, all right, okay, hey, this nobody's ready for this, for what we're about to see take place. All right, so let me get Psalm real quick. All right, because the vibration of the chariots is huge right now. Psalm 68 and 17. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. All right. So this is what we're dealing with. We know exactly what they are. We're pushing the vibration of, and people, you know, the ones that the Most High wants to know, they're getting the word. All right. They're getting the information that the men of the Lord are putting out. So with that, I hope that the elect were edified. And with that, we're going to say shalom.